Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Modern Squid Podcast, where we get to know the people behind our favorite writers and brands. Our guests today are Tabitha and Kidd with Chic Riot. Chic Riot is a motorcycle apparel brand for women that want to ride safely, but also still want to look good. With that, let's get to it. Let's kind of talk about, we talked about bikes already. We're going to have to cover them again, obviously. But let's start with you, Tabitha. Were you born and raised in Georgia, or did you move to Georgia? How'd that happen?
Yep. So I was born and raised here. I've been in Georgia all my life, really. I went to school in Atlanta, so still Georgia. But yeah, it's moving around in Georgia. But yeah.
Okay.
So, this is just what it is. I've traveled, but it's just been in Georgia.
Where have you traveled?
Just like for vacations, not like nothing extravagant. Nothing extravagant. Like New York, Ohio, Florida, that kind of thing. But
see, John, you wanted her to say Milan.
No, I mean, I'm just curious.
She's from Athens, all right. Nobody leaves Athens.
That's not true. What are you talking about?
Okay, you said Ohio, and to that I have to ask, if it's a vacation, why Ohio?
Because our family. That's the only reason. Family, it's not that we're going there for sightseeing. No, just family.
Okay, because I'm thinking to myself, of all the states in the U.S. that I could go to for a vacation, Ohio. I've been to Ohio a few times. It is not somewhere I'd go hang.
Don't you dare speak ill of Ohio.
Oh, please talk ill about it all the time.
Listen,
I'm not
we
going back
went
to Ohio.
to visit the landmarks of Ohio.
We did not. I have never seen any landmark. I don't know what exists there besides
Little
our
Bow Wow is from Ohio.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's all we need to know.
Oh, okay.
Isn't Dave Chappelle? Isn't Dave Chappelle from Dayton?
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is from Ohio.
He lives in Ohio now.
Well, is he from there too?
I don't know if he's. Oh, he's from. You're right. He is from DC, and he lives in Ohio. That's right. Yeah.
See, Ohio facts.
Well, my brother-in-law is a big Ohio State fan, so it's kind of a joke when I tease about Ohio because he and his family are all from Ohio. So
the Buckeyes are the worst.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna get.
I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna tag him in this podcast.
Right, I'm gonna walk away.
Oh man, listen, I lived 2 years in Ohio. I can say that those people are the worst. And then I came down here to Athens, and I was just like, well,
not Athens when you came down.
Yeah, when I came to Athens, I was just like, you guys still not as bad as the Buckeye people. Buckeye people they're just ridiculous. But that's just another story. But I digress.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
they cancel school. I'm sorry. They cancel school for certain games. Are you serious?
They do that too. Yeah.
They are serious about their football. I mean, have you been to Texas?
I need to learn. I don't need to watch.
Oh my God, that's funny. What's that?
I said football is life in certain places.
It's so insane to me because, I'm one of those folks that I don't mind playing football, but watching it bores me to tears. So I don't understand the people who get so fired up about it, but, I don't have to understand them.
Sports ball.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the way it is for me with everything. Like, I like to play baseball, I like to play some basketball, but watching any of it, I'm like, it's like watching paint dry. I don't understand.
I don't even watch it.
With commentary.
Yeah, exactly. You had some like old chubby dudes like sitting around talking crap about people, and I'm just like, okay.
I need to hear this.
All right. So now you also mentioned Florida. Do you where in Florida do you like to go? Do you go to Miami, or are you going more like
Listen,
Orlando?
as a man, I cannot go to Miami. I'm legally obligated not to go to Miami. But no, basically,
I recently went to Sarasota.
Yeah, we just came back from Sarasota.
Yeah. Okay.
But so I lived in Orlando, and I loved Orlando. Orlando, man, it's so nice, but it's expensive too. Nice, but expensive. But yeah, so I went to Full Sail, and that's in the Orlando area, and that's as much as Florida love that Florida's gonna get.
So my ex brother-in-law had a cousin who lived in the outskirts of Miami, and one of my most fun vacations in my life was Miami. And oh my God, I love Miami.
Listen.
I mean,
I've never been to Miami. He has. I've never been.
As a young, stupid, ignorant little boy, Miami is fun. As an old, grizzled husband and father.
Speak for yourself.
Listen, you're old too. You look older.
Boy, please.
oh my gosh.
Yes, he's so extra for no reason.
What you drinking?
This is Jamaica.
Heat Mike, is that tea?
It's kind of, I guess, a tea. So my girlfriend's from Mexico, and it's one of the drinks that you'll see a lot of times when you go to a Mexican restaurant, especially like a hole in the wall type place. They'll have like the white liquid, which is the horchata, and then they'll have like the pink stuff, and that's the Jamaica. And then, there's another one. Usually, a lot of times they'll have three, and it can rotate between different things. I think altogether they call them like agua frescas. And so my last podcast, I was drinking an horchata. This time I didn't have time to make any horchata, so I'm doing Jamaica because it's in the fridge. Girlfriend already made it, and I like
delicious. It. I want
well,
some
thanks
now.
a lot. Now
I'm gonna try some. Right.
Well, I've been trying not to drink. Like I'm older than you guys by a fair amount, I think, and
Doesn't look like it. I don't think so.
Well, I'm pushing 40, so if you guys are pushing 40, then we're in the same neighborhood.
I'm pushing 50, Don.
I might believe it if I didn't look at your Facebook.
Liar.
But anyway, like I just, I'm getting fat enough without alcohol's help, so I've been trying to like back off. I remember when I was younger, I used to take like these weight gainer shakes and stuff, and I'd lift super heavy and trying to put on some pounds, and it was just like pulling teeth. Every pound I gained, I was celebrating, like, yeah. And then now I'm like, no. All I did was have a sip of a margarita last night. Why am I 2 pounds heavier this morning?
That's him with his Vitamalt. You ever had a Vitamalt?
No.
Yeah, those are
makes him gain weight
so fast.
I used to do the muscle blast, it's called. It was like 1,000 calories a scoop or something.
Are you serious?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Then I would eat these peanut butter and banana and honey sandwiches right before bed. And
did it actually do it?
It did, but it took a lot of work. And now, like, I think back to what I was doing, and I'm like, man, I'm an idiot. I should have stayed skinny as long as possible, because once you get old, it just starts happening.
Did you get a booty?
It's funny. I'm part Scottish, so I'm kind of stocky. And when I was lifting real heavy, I did. Like, one of the things that my ex-wife and my girlfriend liked was like, I'm a white guy with a butt. She was like, but now I'm like a fat guy with a butt, which is not the same thing. All right. So you've been in Athens basically your whole life. You do some vacationing. You sound like you've been a little bit more around. Did you move to Orlando specifically for Full Sail, or were you just out that way and then saw Full Sail and was like, oh, that looks interesting?
Yeah, actually Full Sail just came up randomly. I was looking for a studio, because this is before I used to do music back in the day, and I was looking for a studio. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and just typing in studios, and Full Sail just popped up. And I was like, what's this? And I was like, this is a school, teaches you music, and it does all. It has the film program, the music program, has all. And I was just like, for some more reason, they had an orientation like in 2 months, and I was just like, hey, Mom, let's drop down to Florida. They have orientation, and they took us, they toured us to the facility, and I was just like, this is the school I'm going to. And like right after, so like I think it was like that same time period. Yeah, I moved to Orlando, and I was living on my own. I felt like a big boy, and loved it.
That's awesome. I've only been to Orlando once, and it was during my Miami vacation. And, so like another extension of family, it was like a cousin to my brother-in-law's cousin. So like a third cousin or something lived in Orlando. And so we went up there to hang out with her and see Orlando. And they took us to like wherever that place is where the buildings are upside down when you walk down the streets. It's kind of like, it's all kinds of wacky stuff. I don't know. It's a tourist trap. I mean, I tend to stay away from those places. Yeah. But when you're a tourist, people want to take you to do tourist stuff.
I go to the great places. All right. I don't go to those nice places.
It's not even that nice. It's just, it's just a way to suck your money away, honestly.
Right.
Go to like City Walk and that's it.
Yeah. I think Coco Walk in Miami was one of the places I liked. They had, they had some like fun
Miami's
restaurants down there.
Expensive, but fun.
Oh yeah. But I was living in DC at the time, and DC is also expensive. So I didn't notice much of a difference, to tell you the truth. All right. So then outside of New York, Florida and Georgia, any other places you've lived and Ohio too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Not.
But listen, I'm a well-traveled man. All right. Well-traveled.
I haven't heard any West Coast. I haven't heard any West Coast states though on that list.
I have never passed. Ohio is the furthest west I've ever been. I haven't even been to Chicago.
That's a shame.
But you know what? I don't want to go to Chicago. They eat their pizzas in deep dishes. Yuck.
Oh my!
I just had that same argument with a buddy of mine. He's from Chicago, and yeah,
he needs to look at. And anybody who's listening to this, I don't care. You're from Chicago. Eat your pizza like a man, all right? Not in a dish. Come on now, eat pizza with a fork. No, you shouldn't be sorry, because those crazy people from Chicago eat pizzas with forks. What's wrong with them?
Okay, one of our people, Be Poetic, she's in Chicago.
She's the only one.
Well, I don't know if you guys follow any stunters, but that guy Brian 636,
right? And he's in Chicago.
I actually really like. Okay, besides Brian and everybody else is crazy because they eat their pizza.
What about Common?
Okay, you're messing up my point. They eat their pizza with a fork.
Oh my god!
So I actually lived in Newburgh, New York. When I was growing up. So one of my earliest experiences in life with pizza was like Pizza Hut, and it was okay. And then we moved to New York, and we started having pizza out there, and it was so freaking good.
Yeah, it is good. I didn't think it was that good until I tried it. I was like, I don't believe all this hype. I was like, okay.
It's hard to explain, you know what I mean? Because to some degree, pizza's pizza, but there's something about it that's good. I went to Italy. I moved to Italy with my family because my dad was in the army, and I did not like Italian pizza because I was like, it's not New York. It's not New York pizza. This isn't good.
I know we did it better.
they do that like thin crust stuff out there, and it's like eating cheese on a cracker. I don't get it. I'm like, where's my crust?
It is really good though. I was like, wow, this is great. I don't ever want to leave this pizza. Like, I hate pizza now. Like, I don't eat pizza. Rarely I eat pizza. Like, the kids order pizza, they get pizza. I'm like, nope, no, thank you, no.
This is one of the reasons why our marriage is not doing so good. Because she doesn't like pizza anymore.
Oh no!
Eat too much, and I'm just like,
there's no such thing as too much pizza.
You should get a pizza oven, and then
we were just talking about that.
And then you got to give her, some of the. Oh, here comes the ice cream truck. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Can you get me a SpongeBob, please?
Sure. Oh, they only had the ones with COVID, so I can't. No.
But I'm
okay. Well, so anyway, pizza oven, and then it's like the poison from the thing that bit you or whatever. Like, you just keep feeding your pizza until she likes it again, or at least until she learns she has to say she likes it. And then oh man. So now, okay, so you got into motorcycling basically after, hanging out with him for a bit. How long after riding did you decide that Chic Riot was something that needed to happen?
Oh,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I think probably pretty early on, because I'm a fashion designer before I started riding, and the jackets was just so blah. I was like, oh, these are so ugly. I'm like, what is this? But I didn't really put two and two together. It was more of his idea. He's like, I think we should, start a company where we are making, jackets for women. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know.
She resisted it for so long.
I'm like, yeah.
I would tell her, listen, I'm like, Tab, trust me, there's a need for it. Like, I would watch YouTube videos and I hear these female riders say, oh, the jacket. That's like the number one thing that these females are saying. And then like when she started to ride on the back with me, like she had this nasty looking jacket. And I'm just like, yo, come on, son. Like, you need to look better than this. And I'm just like, yo, well, you should make jackets. I'm like, you can make a wedding dress. You can make an evening gown. Like, I'm pretty sure you can make a jacket.
Yep.
So it was one of those things where it's just like the more she started to ride on the back with me, I started to get ashamed of how she looked.
Oh, please. Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, we need to change that.
Because you just looks too cool, right? You're like, you can't look that cool and have her not.
Exactly.
Oh, my
Somebody
goodness.
understands what I'm saying.
Oh, my goodness. Not how it started at all.
But it was one of those things where it's just like listening to like female moto vloggers and like seeing her riding the back of me, I'm just like, and then looking it up too, where it's just like, man, are you telling me that there's no fashionable women's motorcycle jackets? And it's just like nagging her for like, how long was I nagging you for? Like months.
Yeah.
And then like when we finally decided like, okay, let's do this, it took us like a whole nother year of just doing research
yeah,
and making sure. So it's just like, I don't know, almost 2 years of just like from the beginning of concept to starting Chic Riot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like 2 years.
Okay. I mean, that's healthy. I mean, you know, you don't want to jump into it and make something that isn't going to be functional, you know, because it is
Exactly.
great as having something that looks good is, you know, at the end of the day, if someone takes a spill, you don't want to think that, you know, your jacket just shredded and they
right.
you know, ended up injured anyway.
Right. That would be killer.
Because,
and I like in myself, I'm like, I'm on here. I don't want to go down and not work.
Because the sad thing is, like, when we, like, part of our research stage, like when we see some of the jackets that other brands are selling, we look at the materials, we're like,
that's not that great.
Yeah, we're like, that's not gonna hold up.
I mean, it's better than nothing, but at the same time, like some of it's not, they're selling it as a certain thing, but it doesn't really work in that way based on the materials. So I'm like, that's not going to work. And I don't think people really know that. They're just thinking like it's under this website that is stemmed from motorcycle gear. You're thinking, okay, so anything I buy here is going to be good for me. And that's not really the case.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, I was watching some of your YouTube videos and showing you where you were showing people how to insert the armor and stuff. And, you know, I was really happy to see the armors built in because abrasion resistance is nice. You know, it's going to help for a lot of the low speed stuff. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, like, you experienced a broken bone. Like, if you can avoid it.
Right,
you know?
right. The day he wasn't wearing his motorcycle jeans, he's just getting off work.
Yeah, I'm like all gear. I know, like all gear all the time, but I forgot I didn't have my pants on. And if I had my pants on, my hip protectors would have probably saved me.
Or reduce the damage. So man, I totally forgot to ask you. I'm off my game today. Like, I was going to ask you guys at the beginning, on a scale of like full squid to at gat, where do you see yourself falling?
For me, I'm at gat.
It's like past at gat. So at gat. So.
What? How can you go further? Yeah. Helmet all the time. I like even around the block, like I won't even like do it without like a helmet on. Like if I'm going around my neighborhood just to test out, maybe we did the oil change or something like that, then I put a helmet on and a jacket. But if I'm like leaving out of the neighborhood, then I'm like full pants, shoes, jacket, gloves, helmet. Yeah.
So it's like all gear all the time because it's just like, yes, we all know that it's so hot and the gear is so cumbersome and I want to feel comfortable. And that's what everybody says. But again, it's just like, we don't know when we're good. It doesn't matter. Listen, Rossi gets in accidents on the track. So it's just like, and he's one of the best riders out there. We're not Rossi. You're not Rossi. So you're going to go down. That person in the car behind you, you think you're Rossi, but he's an idiot. He's going to hit you. You're going to go down. So it's just like.
It's quite possible.
Exactly. So we are of the mind. And then on top of that, too, it's like we have kids to come home to. So it's just like we don't want to go down and just whatever. But it's one of those things where it's just like you could be the greatest rider in your mind, but somebody, just like with her accident, like some idiot just came out in front of her and just she T-boned him. So it's just like, yeah, you want to be comfortable, but at the same time, it's just like I'd rather wipe sweat off than wipe concrete off or wipe pavement off. So
yeah,
it's just like
picking everything out of your skin, you know.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. And so I was thinking too before I hit him, because I know what's happening. I was like, if my gear would come into play, I was wondering, like, it's my gear. What gear is going to come into play right now? It's going to be my helmet. It's going to be my pants, my jacket. Like, what is the thing is going to be? But actually, none of them came into play because, you know, I just got off the bike. You know, I hit and I just like hopped off, and I was like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Oh, so it was low speed then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I was starting to brake, so I know I was going to hit him. So now I'm like full on, you know, braking at this point. If he would just move, I could have just swerved out of the way, but he was just blocking both of my lanes. And, yeah. So, but but I definitely think that, you know, gear is something that not everybody wants to wear. I understand people do what you do. Like, that's your life. Live it however you choose.
YOLO.
That's right.
But for me, I'm just like, I like my skin. I like where it's at. So, you know, I want to, if I go down, I can get back up with the same skin, you know. So,
Yeah.
Oh, you can from your butt.
No.
You don't want that skin.
You can get like some
skin grafts.
No, you get some some cool skin. So if you don't like your skin now.
Okay,
that's another conversation.
Yeah. What about you? What are you? Modern squid. I'm assuming no.
No. So I'm full @GAD. So the modern squid name.
I told him, and he was like, no, he's fully squid. I was like, no, I think he's a modern squid, and that means that he's wearing the gear because it's a modern thing to do.
So the modern squid actually more refers to the way I do the interviews. Because the tagline is
whatever. Okay.
Is writing vulnerable, but what it really is kind of alluding to is that when I have these conversations with people, you know, the bikes tie us all together, and that's why we're, you know, on the podcast together. But really, it's kind of a show about people and kind of figuring out, you know, who they are, what their lives were like, and kind of going deeper than just what do you ride, how long you've been riding, how many people have you mowed over, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's I want people to kind of feel like they get to know us, you know, and you know, especially for, you know, brands or people who are trying to become influencers or something like that. You know, the more people feel like they know you, the more connected they feel to you, the more kind of a loyal following you get from them. But at the same time, I think people have a natural curiosity about other people's lives. And that's my way too. And it's funny because I'm a huge believer in minding your own business. You know what I mean? People ask me things all the time and I'm like, what do I think about that? I think it's not my business. But I am curious about people. So having a podcast is a perfect excuse to be nosy while also minding my business.
It is my business.
Exactly. It's like I can interrogate them because it's my business. It's a podcast.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because in my personal life, I'm telling you, so many times I'll have people, you know, message me, especially photography friends. They'll be like, "Did you hear about so and so did this?" And I'm like, "No, and I don't care because it's not my business."
Right. Love it. I love that. That's me.
That's kind of how we are. Where it's just like we tend to stay like in a little bubble, and it's just like we're in our bubble.
That doesn't concern me. Live your life.
That's right. And just like I don't understand people who don't want to wear a helmet. You know, I am also against helmet laws because I feel like, you know what, if you're an adult and you want to take that risk, because, you know, riding a motorcycle is not safe. Helmet, no helmet, like it's not that safe. So
we were in Florida and they have like a no helmet law. And I'm just like, first of all, it's uncomfortable. Like the wind in your face.
The bugs. the bugs. Oh my goodness.
Like, unless you're doing like 20 miles an hour, like I could not see how that could not be uncomfortable. But it's just like for not wearing a helmet, to me, that's idiotic. I'm sorry for anybody who's listening, but you're kind of an idiot not wearing your helmet.
I mean, I guess if they don't want their head.
I don't care about them. They're idiots, all right?
Oh my goodness, stop it. You're going to lose our powers.
What I like to say in life is that there's no rule in life that says you have to make good decisions. You know what I mean? Like, everyone can live their life the way they want. You know, there's no rule book that says all your decisions have to be rational. All your decisions have to be good. And I don't have to understand them.
You know what? You've just changed my mind. They're not idiots anymore.
They're just living their life. The best of they
best
see
of their
fit.
abilities.
Whatever they see fit, they're living it. Oh my goodness. But I remember one time, like, I'm going like 50 and there's like something in my eye. I'm like dying. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how do you ride like that? I'm like, I'm about to die from this wind.
Oh yeah.
You know who's cool without a helmet? The only person who would not wear a helmet is Tom Cruise. That is the only man who is allowed legally to not wear a helmet while riding a motorcycle. Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 4, just him on a weekend. It's the only person who can ride a motorcycle without a helmet.
Well, when you've got an EMS vehicle that's following you around,
yeah, exactly.
You can take a few more risks. What's that?
Did you see the last Mission Impossible movie?
No, but I was, or maybe I don't think I saw it though. But I don't even own a TV. That's just a heads up.
I'll give you one of mine. It's fine.
I heard a story though that he jumped off a roof, hit the other side doing a stunt, broke his ankle, got up, finished the run, and then when they said cut, he stopped and was like, "Yeah, I got to get treated. My ankle's broken."
Yeah.
Right. He's insane. Yeah. I don't know.
Tom Cruise for president.
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure we can go full crazy. I mean, we are already pretty close.
You're already there.
It's like, yeah. I don't want to get too into beliefs about things, but I'll
take all the blame for you. So whatever blame comes your way, send it my way.
But when Dianetics is your Bible, that's probably a step too far for me as far as presidents.
Every time you sip that, I want some.
Oh my gosh. I don't talk a whole lot either. And I've been having like muscle pain in my neck right here. So it like soothes my throat too, to kind of to take a sip, because when I'm talking, it bothers that muscle. I was lucky enough / unlucky enough to get some home gym equipment before the whole pandemic thing shut everything down. And so I was doing overhead presses and I must have been like, just like tensed up too much. It's like, pop. Oh, Jesus. So anyway.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Relax your muscles first.
It would suck less if you could see the results. Like it looked like I was working out, but no. All right. All right, let's see what else we got here. I had a few other things I wanted to go through for sure. So Full Sail, I know you said that you used to do music. Now, did you stick to music when you were going to Full Sail, or is that where you kind of got introduced to photography and video and that kind of a thing, or what was the?
Honestly, it's crazy because like in my Full Sail days, blah 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 blah. Words. In my Full Sail days, it was just strictly music, like nothing else. I didn't even want to, like nothing else bothered to me or mattered to me. It was just all music. But it was one of those things where when I started to have a family, oh my goodness, words. When we started to have a family and starting to settle down, where I couldn't do music how I wanted to, because I used to perform as well. And actually, Tab used to be my manager. So,
nice.
We used to go out and do shows and stuff like that. But it was one of those things where it's just like I started to leave that life behind me. And when I left music behind, I picked up a camera. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I just start taking pictures. And I was like, this is actually pretty cool. And I just start practicing. And I just practice every single day. I would just practice. And then it was just like, I asked her to buy me a camera. And that time it was, it was like a T2. It was a T2i. And I remember back then it was like about $800. And that was a lot of money to us back then. And but the thing is, that's why I love this little girl. It's because
hold on.
I love this little woman because she was just like, she saw that I loved photography. She saw that, I really loved doing it. And she was like, okay, fine. You get your little camera and you take your little pictures and you have fun. You go out, you run out the house and you go have fun. And yeah, so basically that's what happened. It's just like I put down music and I picked up a camera and I just fell in love with it, and I just kept on doing it ever since.
Nice. So now, Tabitha, you, I hear, started out in Georgia State doing business, and then switched over to African studies.
Yes,
What's that?
How'd you find that out?
I try to research the folks I'm going to be interviewing beforehand, so I've got something to talk about. So it was either your Facebook or I saw a couple articles that were written about you.
Probably
as well.
Are you a hitman?
I'm an over preparer. Let's just say. So now what took you, so I can kind of see the path from, the business to African studies, but then how do you go from there to designing couture and, all these beautiful wedding gowns and such?
Yeah. For me, I always loved fashion design. Like I can remember 8 years old, 7 however old, playing with Barbie dolls. Like Barbie was always so fly to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, Barbie clothes are just so cool. And I got older, I found out that fashion designer was an actual thing. Like I could actually, do fashion and make the clothing. So I always went through that from high school. And then going to Georgia State, someone told me you don't really have to go to school for fashion, because I wanted to go to a private fashion school. It was so expensive. So I was like, it's like, you can go to do business, just learn the business side. I was like, I guess you're right. And so I just went to Georgia State for business. And that was my initial thing. I learned the business and then I could still do fashion. But I ended up just changing to African American studies because I was very passionate about African people from the diaspora and everything like that. So for me, that's where it took me. But then I was transferred actually to go to SCAD because I still really wanted to do fashion. I was like, this is my biggest passion. I got accepted, got everything transferred over. It was going to start. Then I ended up not going. Family was starting. Other priorities come into play. And it was just so expensive. And I was just like, I really don't want to be that much debt when I leave school. So I ended up not going to SCAD. And I just became a self-taught fashion designer. I went to the library.
The library books.
I was copying pages.
She used to instead of just renting the library book out.
I did rent them.
She would just
make copies because I had to take it back to the library.
Make a copy of pages.
I needed to learn.
That's smart. And then you could write on them too if you want to take notes. Like you write in the library book, they get really mad. I can tell you.
The thing, YouTube was there wasn't.
It wasn't a big YouTube then. Yeah.
YouTube wasn't as big as tutorials back then.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of things were just finding articles and looking at different things and a lot of trial and error. I think that was 50% of all my learning was trial and error, seeing what works, what doesn't work. When it comes to actually designing, because you can learn how to sew, and I learned how to sew, and but actually designing was a whole different field. And for me, doing those wedding dresses is something I love. Evening wear, prom wear, just women's fashion when we can really be dressed up. I think it was my very word I'm looking for. It's my thing. Going somewhere. So I was living vicariously through all of my designs. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to a gala. I'm going to an art museum. I'm going to a show or whatever. So, and then that ended up leading to putting some of that into Chic Riot as far as the fashion aspect.
So why do you think fashion had such a strong appeal to you when you were even as young as 6 or 7?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. The colors, the style of it, it was something different. Because, when you're a kid, your mom pick out your clothes and you put them on, this is what you're giving. But I'm like, Barbie looks so cool. How can I look like that? Oh my goodness. I remember, I think I maybe had a life-size Barbie. I was like, I get to wear her clothes. Oh my goodness, this is the best. Not wearing clothes that I have.
Did you have a life-size Barbie then?
I didn't. And I don't know, my sister might've had 1 or 2.
Oh my goodness.
When we were kids, but my dad, he was in the Army and, especially when we were young, they had kids. My parents had kids. My dad, I think, was 21 and my mom was 19. So they just weren't making any money. So Barbies, I'm sure you guys are aware, Barbies have never been a cheap toy.
Right. They are.
Our toys were coloring books.
Yes. So our mom must have went out her way to do it because we wasn't rich.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I feel like they price them in such a way where it was like just expensive enough to suck to buy if you didn't have a lot of money, but it also was cheap enough that it felt weird to say no if your kid wanted it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That sweet spot right there.
Yeah. I call it the bitter spot, but yeah.
Toys are expensive now. Like, I don't know, you've probably never been down the toy aisle, but the stuff is expensive. Like $20 for an action figure.
Well, I buy my niece some stuff once in a while, so I do have some experience with kids' toys, but luckily it's only like once or twice a year.
Right. Her birthday or some kind of event, and then that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So when you were making the dresses and you were kind of resisting the jackets, do you feel like you resisted the jackets more because you thought you wouldn't enjoy making a jacket as much as you enjoy doing the couture dresses and stuff? Or do you think that you just didn't see a need in the marketplace? What was the resistance, do you think, to that?
I think I kind of a little bit of both of those. Because he was always on YouTube. Like, his YouTube is his cable. Like, he is always on YouTube. And so I wasn't following as much as he was. So I didn't know like how, and I didn't think I would do this for like a long term. Like, I'm just going to get on the back with you every now and then. I don't really need, just as long as I got some gear on, I'm fine. Also, I was so focused on my other brand, Tabitha Felto, which is my name as well. I'm just like, my mind is all on this right now. I don't really have time to kind of put my mind somewhere else. And then our initial start was just like, we just outsource it. If we can I'll make the designs, send it out to manufacturer, let them just deal with it. I don't feel like I need to deal with that.
But that backfired.
Yeah.
You lose the quality control, right?
It was a good manufacturer, I guess. It didn't come out the way we were intending, like the vision and everything.
Because it would have been easier for you if it was just been like, okay, we're just gonna give you the design, do everything, have everything overseas or wherever. And that's another thing too. We didn't really want it overseas. We wanted to make sure we have control of it. And I guess the one manufacturer we were dealing with earlier on, we just did not like. And that's the thing. You can't go to them and be like, hey, this.
If we had money, we probably could.
Yeah, if we had, money changes a lot of things.
Oh, doesn't it? Right?
You got the money,
It was one of those things where you're just like, okay, we can either waste more money and rely on other people, or we could just do it yourself. It's going to take longer. It's going to a lot more work. But it's just like, I was telling her, I'm like, hey, just let's do it ourselves. We just source we source all the materials, like all the fabrics and even down to the little button you don't even think about.
Right, small stuff.
All that stuff has to be sourced. So we just do it all in-house, make it by hand. Her poor little hands is bleeding right now because it's been working away. But it's just like that way we know it's just like, okay, like you were saying, quality control. Like this is,
We know how it was done. We know how it was sewn, what was stitched. All of that is really, really important to us. And that's how we plan on growing Chic Riot. It's just in-house. Everything, we get more seamstresses, more pattern makers. It will just be all done in the house. So we can really have that quality control to make sure everything is done properly. Because we only can trust them to do their job. Like we say triple stitch, we only hope they did that. We don't really know,
Yeah. So now one of the articles I read indicated that you'd brought on at least one assistant, it seemed like. Do you guys still have that assistant, or do you have more now? Like how's the business been growing?
Yeah, so we just have an intern. She's great, and so that's the only person we have to help assist as far as the sewing aspect. But we've had help from other people, but I kind of outsource different things. If it's I guess the imagery of Chic Riot versus the actual work, the in-house work. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, basically it's just both of us doing everything, down from the making of the jackets to the pictures to the videos to everything. Is just me and her, and that's it. And help from, of course, we have help from others, but like when it comes down to it, like most of the work is just both of us, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are the kids getting old enough yet that they can kind of help out with some things? Or are they still pretty young?
Those kids.
I need to put them to work. They are
good.
Not.
You think we have kids to help out, but what do?
Just
nothing.
Sit back and collect the checks.
Absolutely nothing.
Sounds just like my cats.
It might as well be cats.
It's like, you know, I see a bug in this house. I've got a bunch of cats. Why aren't you guys taking care of this? You know, like, why do I have to take care of a bug in my house? Shouldn't you be eating this? Like,
listen, I am so glad we don't have a farm, because we would be starved to death, because these kids, you have kids to help you out.
It's our farm hands.
It's my farm hand. Go till the land or something.
I mean, you know, I think it's the only thing about having kids that made my dad happy was like he had 2 little servants running around, you know, he had dishwashers, he had housekeepers.
They do that housework though, yes.
He had lawnmowers.
Oh my goodness.
He'd just walk outside and be like, grass not short enough. Go do it again.
Go back and do it again.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, I mean, are they just, do you think they're just not old enough, or do you think that they just really don't have an interest? Okay.
It's both. It's both.
Yeah.
They could keep us. As long as Netflix is on, that's all that matters.
You know, I suppose staying out of your way is a form of help. So as long as they're letting you guys work, that's also helping.
Right.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
But that's the thing too, like with working, it's just like we always try to make sure we have that time, because it's just like, well, we have family time, we have each other time, and then we have riding time. It's just like, even just this morning, we went out for 2 hours. We went out to go ride, get some breakfast, ride around a little bit, and come back. Because it's just like, yeah, it sucks that you work all the time, but you know what?
So you can still take a ride.
So are you guys schedulers? Like, how do you keep how do you guys have enough time to do everything? Because, you know, Tabitha, you've got your business, and then you guys have the Chic Riot together, and then Kidd, you've got the photography business, and then kids might as well be another job. So like, how do you guys juggle 4 jobs in a household?
And she homeschools.
Yeah.
And teacher. Okay. 5 jobs.
Oh my goodness.
Even before this thing, we've been in homeschool 3 years?
Yes.
So she's been homeschooling for like about 3 years. So even before all of this, like, she's been homeschooling. Well, we have a magical genie. And,
How to help.
and he grants us 3 wishes.
It's fairy godmother.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I wish. Oh my goodness. Some days is late night, early mornings. And then some days I'm like, okay, we got to just cut some things out. What's not that important today? So I guess that's the management of.
Honestly, just scheduling. We have a fairly decent schedule. We'd like to keep on task, but scheduling and just helping each other out, you know, because it's just like, if she's like behind on orders, I'm like, okay, it's my turn to, you know, cook dinner for the week. Or if whatever needs to be done, like, you know, we'll kind of hand off tasks. You know, because like, you know, we play a role in the household, you know, but it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not set in stone. So it's just like, if she needs to do something, I pick up the slack. If I need to do something, she'll pick up the slack. And the kids, they'll just watch Netflix.
Well, they have food and Netflix, they're fine.
They are fine.
They're getting a film education right now, you know, they're going to be future filmmakers. That reminds me. So Kidd, I think before everything went down, and maybe you still are, but it sounds like you were on the board of directors to a thing called Cine or Cine.
Mm-hmm. Listen, you are a hitman.
So it's like one more thing to pull time away. I'm legitimately amazed, because I'm the kind of person that likes to stay busy, partially because I have some anxiety, and one of the ways I manage it is just staying busy all the time. But even with the things I'm doing, I'm like, you know, when I was doing my research and seeing all the different stuff you guys do, I was like, how do they have time for all this?
Listen,
I don't know either.
I'm not
I'm
like
trying
that.
to figure it out.
I don't like doing stuff. I just want to sit at home and
I
play
do
my
too.
game.
I want to be lazy. I want to sit to be lazy. I'm like, I don't have a time to be lazy. I just want to lay in the bed and veg out.
But the thing is, like, yeah, I am on the board for this year. I'm on the board. It's a private nonprofit theater here in Athens. It's a 2-screen theater. I'm on the board. But the thing is, it kind of slowed down just a little bit since Corona hit. But we still have our monthly meetings and things like that. But it's one of those things where It is a lot, but again, it's just trying to find the balance of time. Like for instance, like I don't really find time to shoot for myself as much. It sucks because it's just like there's certain times where I'm just like, I just want to go out and do a shoot or whatever. But I'm just like, well, I can't, because if that's the case, that's going to take away 4 or 5 hours from this. And so it's just like sacrifices, I guess. But and I love, I play games a lot. I'm a big gamer, so it's just like I need to schedule about 6 hours a week for games.
Find that time.
So it's just like I could schedule a shoot or I could play the game. I'm like, I just go play the game.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you got to have some sort of relaxation time in a week. Otherwise, eventually you burn out, and then you don't get anything done instead of missing a thing or two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we help each other out. We're not Batman and Robin, because Robin's pretty weak. We're like we're like the Wonder Twins up there. Robin is the worst.
Wow.
There's been at least 4 or 5 Robins.
Oh my goodness.
There's only been one Batman. Let that sink in. But
Michael Keaton.
I digress again. But
what do you mean by that? Like, you mean as far as people who are playing Batman?
I'm saying.
Oh, the type, like the origin story?
Yeah, I'm saying there's been Dick Grayson, there's so many different Robins. I don't want to compare us to Batman and Robin, because that means one of us will have to be Robin. I'm not being Robin. And
Batman and Wonder Woman?
They didn't get along well.
That seems totally contradictory to your guys' relationship right now.
I remember, what we're like? We're like Charlie Murphy and Prince. That's what we're like.
Oh my goodness. What? No, we're nothing like Charlie Murphy and Prince. What?
Buy another couch, Charlie Murphy.
Oh my God.
So now I got sort of introduced to the brand Chic Riot through Instagram. And I think the first person that I saw with one of the jackets was Doodle on a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that it was a Chic Riot jacket. I just remember seeing it going, where did she find a cool jacket? Because every other like female Instagrammer account that I'd been seeing at the time, it was kind of the same uniform, I mean, it seems like there's just a few different variations of the same jacket out there, and hers looked legitimately different. And I was like, man, that's cool. And then I think it's Megan Stark. She just posted a photo on her Instagram that was, in my opinion, an even cooler jacket. And it was also Chic Riot. I was like, oh my gosh, these people are killing it. And I was going through, I'd already followed you guys when I saw Doodle's jacket. And because I've kind of had in the back of my mind, I wanted to start a podcast or something. And so I was trying to familiarize myself with kind of the market and the people who are in it and that sort of a thing. And so when I saw your guys' brand, I was like, I want to kind of keep in touch and see what they're doing.
Nice.
And then as I started seeing more people that I followed on Instagram wearing your stuff, I was like, oh my God, I've got to talk to these guys, because they're actually making cool stuff, and as a photographer, you see these people doing their shoots and they either take off all their gear because it's ugly and you don't want to, be taking pretty pictures with like crappy gear on, or they're wearing your guys' stuff if it looked cool, you know what I mean? Like, at least to me. So yeah, I was stoked that you guys agreed to come and talk to me. But
well, listen, man, we appreciate it. We're just listen, it's just 2 tiny little people from Athens trying to do something. So we definitely appreciate it, because it's one of those things where it's just like we say all the time, yeah, if we had more money, we'll be further along than where we are. But it's just, honestly, sometimes it's just like 30 minutes a piece just on Instagram, just like, replying back to messages or doing this. And it's just like, we have a lot going on, but we always try to make sure that we're engaged on, because like we try to pick like 2 platforms, YouTube and Instagram, because we can't spread ourselves too thin. Mm-hmm. So, and we do need to work on our YouTube. So I'm sorry. Yeah, YouTube is lacking.
It's lacking.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But that leads me to my question though. So, how much of what I'm seeing is just organic versus do you guys have a marketing plan in place where you're making sure that these like kind of key people are aware of your products and wearing your products? And if that part is organic, how do you guys approach marketing for your company?
So I could show you our marketing budget. Hold on. It's right over here. 0. Everything is organic. Like we reached, because I was watching Doodle on YouTube, and she was one of the ones that I used to watch. And I'm just like, oh, she lives in Atlanta. Oh, let's go reach out to her. This is like right when Chic Riot was right about to, and she was the first one. And we wanted to kind of gauge with her first as a female writer. And
just get her opinion, just as a female writer, like, what are you looking for? What do you like about these? You know, we had a product, I think, at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, it was like right in the beginning stages.
Right before we really launched the company. And she was already like, oh, I'm buying now. I'm like, we haven't even, like, that website up
exactly. Like, we didn't even, like, it's like, I'm going to buy 2 of them. I'm like, whoa.
I had to PayPal with her because we really did not have, like, the website up and ready to.
But that's why we love Doodle. And Doodle, we love you. But because she saw what we were doing, like, at the early stages.
So supportive.
And she was very supportive of it. And she got it. And my mother still hasn't gotten it. Come on, Mom. Doodle's wear.
So does your mom ride?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I forgot to ask.
But yeah, she was very much on board. She was just like, hey, I see what you guys are doing. I really like it.
I think she valued it too because she's a graphic artist. And so she was just like, I appreciate another artist doing something that is coming from an artist versus just like a company who is just trying to make a buck, And
then from that, like, we became friends, and now, like, she's like one of the homies now, just from like reaching out to her and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. And everything else is just like people will send us a message, or we just reply back. Honestly, it's just me.
Start organically.
Yeah, and that was another person that I was watching on YouTube, and I was just like, hey,
these are actually female writers we were looking at that we, are, I guess, motivated by, and so we're like, hey, I mean, if you could do this as a favor, just wear it. Let us know what you feel. She made a post herself, so that was all on her. She didn't have to do that. Just wear it. Let us know what you feel about it. Like, how does it feel? How does it fit when you're riding? The functionality of it, all of that. And that's what we really wanted to know because we want to make each jacket better than the time before.
And that's another good thing too about doing all this made by hand, where it's just like made to order, made by hand, where it's just like somebody might say, well, this was, a little bothersome right here, or whatever. And it's just, okay, all we have to do is just change the pattern, change the whatever, and then bam, instead of having like 20 of the same jackets.
And they're all already made. And then you can't go back and change each thing.
So we're able to tweak on the fly. And that's why it's just like to have that feedback from other riders, because she wears the jackets, but it's just like, well, that's.
And I make tweaks too. And I'm like, okay, this feels uncomfortable. Never doing that again. And I don't do it again for the next jackets. And so, it really helps to.
So I think one of the things that affects sort of the comfort of even the garment. So it's like a two-way street, right? Like the bike can affect the comfort of the garment, and the garment can affect the comfort of the bike. So depending on, what type of bike someone rides, it's going to fit differently, right? So you guys are sport bike riders. I think Megan does, what did she get? A cafe racer, I think?
Yeah.
And then Doodle's got that Triumph, which is still a little, it's like a naked bike. So I think it's still somewhat of the sport bike ergonomics. But have you had anyone ride it with like a Harley or any kind of cruiser, maybe like a like a Vulcan or something? And have you had any feedback from them?
I think that would be our next go-to thing, because we do want different riders to wear them to really get that feedback.
You know what? Honestly, everybody who we ordered the jackets, I don't think they've told us what bikes they. That's a good question.
You know what?
But I know there was earlier on. I think it was Doodle. She was riding, and she was just like, okay, the wrist, comes up just a little bit. And we're like, okay, make that note and just adjust it and just find adjustments. And I know, like, when she first got her, because she bought her jacket like before we even went live. And we were able to get the jacket back from her, make the tweets, make the edits, give them back to her before all of this. So it's just like, and I know for our pants too, our pants is different, because when you're riding sports bike, your leg is more bent and leaned over.
Right.
And even just like with the jackets, like I know she makes it, because that's something I don't think about. I don't think about my back being shown when I'm wearing a jacket, or my waist or my butt crack. I don't know. These are things that girls deal with.
That'll be your pants. Not fitting properly.
I'm wearing some 2000 Britney Spears pants. But it's just like, so now when we make the jacket, make sure it's low enough to cover the back, or the pants. These are all her things that I'm just like, nope, that doesn't look good. Change it again.
And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, however your teamwork works out, I think it's working beautifully because, like I said, the only jackets so far on women that I've seen and actually clicked to see if they tagged who it was ended up being made by you guys. So I really do like the gear, and my girlfriend, she loves it too. I'm trying to convince her to ride, but she doesn't yet. She had an ex that rode motorcycles, and he was kind of, not that considerate in the way he rode. So she's kind of been like turned off from motorcycles in that regard. But yeah, I'm going to try to convince her. And, I was showing her your guys' stuff. It's like, hey, look at this.
You look good.
Look, there's some cool stuff you can wear. Because she does like fashion.
That's good. I heard people say to me and us, we've been out like, can I get that? Like, I don't ride a motorcycle, but I like that jacket. I'm just like, well, I guess you take out the armor, I guess, and still wear it.
Yeah, just take the armor out. You're good.
Oh my goodness.
You ever slide down a hill by mistake because it's wet or icy or something? You'll have abrasion resistance.
Exactly.
Or if someone pushes you, whatever.
And now it's just like, I'm getting a little upset because when I used to ride, I used to get all the compliments like, hey man, nice bike, cool shoes. And now when I'm riding with her, she takes all the compliments. And I'm just like, I hate it. Because everybody always gives her the compliments. Oh, I love your jacket. I love your jacket. It's like, what about me? All right? What about me? The worst.
We're going to nickname you Bob. You're a film guy. Have you seen What About Bob?
What about? No, I have not.
Did you like Bill Murray at all?
No. Groundhog Day for me, and that's it. I don't even like Ghostbusters.
Oh my gosh! No Ghostbusters either.
No.
Was it just too old when you were a kid?
No, because I grew up in around that time, but it's just like I just don't get it. You know what else? Sorry, 5 second tangent. I am so sorry.
Sure.
But Star Wars, that's another one.
Oh, okay. We're not going.
All right, we're not going to go.
Because we'll go too far.
That's another one. It's ridiculous to me. I don't get it. I don't get the love for Star Wars. It's okay. Never mind.
But Mission Impossible.
No helmet.
But the clothes design, I really look at a lot of things for clothing design. Oh my goodness. Star Wars has some of the best like costume designers, and like I want to touch the fabric so bad. Like, oh, it looks so good. Yeah.
We're not
I can get caught up in that.
Well, okay, so let's go back a little bit to Chic Riot. So you made that kind of leap now from the couture dresses and evening gowns and wedding dresses and gala dresses, and now you're making jackets. How long was it before you guys decided that pants should start entering the equation? Because I know it's a lot of work developing patterns and such.
Yeah. I think it was when we were shooting more jackets, and like I'm having to buy other companies' pants. I was like, okay, that's not making sense. We need to start making pants as well, just so we have it to offer and people come to the site as well. And when I'm actually riding, I'm wearing all of our gear and not just partial. But the jacket was definitely the main, I guess. Yeah,
because we wanted to just be just jackets. And it's
that's why we said and apparels, because we wasn't sure how far we would go.
But pants was actually harder than jackets, especially sourcing the materials, because it's just like for you to have, because right now we're using in debris pants, we're using Dyneema. And Dyneema, it is, 15, 18 times stronger than steel. And it's just like to find material that strong, it is really hard, like abrasion resistance wise, to find something that you could use for pants. Because I know, and I don't know, that's all her stuff. But yeah, it's the pants was a little bit more harder to source because of the material. And it's like you have to go through different parties
and everything.
Yeah, it's really hard to source that material. You have to know a guy, you kind of have to show a little bit of something.
How is the heat transfer on Dyneema compared to like a Kevlar?
Yeah, the heat resistant compared to the Kevlar, I'm not 100% sure, but it's very, like, I know, like, putting them on my skin is very cooling. So it's really different. Like when you put the pants on, you feel cool on your skin. Yeah, because heat is different, a thing that you need to worry about, but you don't want your skin to come off too. So, you know, that's
well, what I mean by that is as you're sliding, you know,
right,
your pants can, or, you know, the friction causes heat. And so I know some materials are able to kind of block that heat transfer than others. And I don't remember which one was better than the other. And I was just curious if you guys had considered it all, or if it was more just like.
And that is something that they do have. And I guess since it's not in front of us, we don't know, but it is on that, they have a list of, you know, the specs on the materials, but I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. Didn't understand, you know, really what it is.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, it's there's a lot to consider when you're doing this kind of stuff. And I mean, a lot of companies use Dyneema. It's one of the most popular materials in motorcycle gear, and it's for a reason. You know, I mean, it's great stuff.
Yeah, really strong. Yes, I mean, really hard, super hard to cut as well.
So let me see your forearms. Are they jacked?
And the initial ones, yeah, but I soon got electric cutter. I was like, oh, no more of that. No, cut that again.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So now I saw also you guys have some leggings. And I've seen other companies make kind of like armored leggings before. And, you know, when I first saw them, I thought to myself, like, man, like, why would someone wear leggings? If you're concerned about, you know, at-gat type deal, you know, trying to get covered and protected, leggings seem like a bad idea. But then, you know, my second thought was, well, if they're going to wear regular leggings as the other alternative,
might as well just wear some armor.
I'm like, yeah, you know, having some armor at least is going to give you some protection. And I don't know, are you guys weaving anything in your leggings at all, or?
Yeah, so those leggings are actually meant to be worn under your riding jeans. And we do state that on the website, you know, meant to be worn in bold under your riding jeans. Because
some jeans don't have
the pickets for the leggings, like went for the armor. Some jeans, I know they've sold some that doesn't have that. So that's what that's for. But we're hoping to make them where they are. They do have some abrasion resistance, but not a lot. It's not like it would be with the Dyneema jeans. But we do hope to remake those with material that we can source that would have that abrasion resistance as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes perfect sense, though. And it's actually really clever to have leggings that would have pockets for armor that would go underneath some jeans, because I just bought a pair of riding jeans for myself. And it was interesting to me how many pairs of jeans don't have all the different types of armor. It's like some of them only come with knee armor. They don't have any hip armor pockets. And it's like, well, why am I going to spend a couple $100? They don't even have the pocket to put them in.
Well, at least give me the pocket, give me the option.
Yeah. And so, you know, if they had that for men, I'm not saying I'd wear them, but because I live in Phoenix, not because I'm embarrassed about leggings.
They do have seen those.
I used to do MMA, so believe me, leggings are a thing for men. I've seen all kinds. I've seen unicorns. I've seen cats with lasers shooting out of their eyes. I've seen all kinds of men in leggings. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool, because then you can buy a pair of jeans and you can kind of, you know, retrofit them, so to speak, if they don't have all the armor you want. So yeah, that's really cool. Now, are your guys' armor pockets adjustable at all, or is it more like just make sure you get the right fit?
Yeah, I think it's more so getting that right fit. The different armors that are out there, and they all kind of, a few different ones that we looked at did fit that picket. So I feel like you get the general length, you'll know, like, okay, get something that this long, you know, the width, you can measure it. I mean, that's another thing we're actually working on is measurements, learning how to actually measure things properly, because we are finding that people are really not really good at measuring. But yeah, if you measure accurately, you can find armor that will fit the knees or the hip.
Yeah. I had to go buy a suit a few months ago, and I've been lucky enough. So Arizona, in Phoenix, it's so hot that most places they don't require you to wear a suit, even in businesses. You know what I mean? It's
really?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's too hot. I mean, let me look at something real quick. Today is a cool day for us. Cool day. All right. I rode my bike over to the dealership to drop it off this morning, full at GAT, and it is currently 106.
Ooh, that's cool.
It is a cool day because it gets like 120.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. So,
that's a cool day.
Basically
cool day.
almost every day from May through September, or I'll back away from that a little bit. Every single week from May through September has 100-degree day plus in it.
No,
wow.
Thank you.
So imagine trying to wear a suit.
And then you wearing your gear all the time.
All the time.
I can understand people like, you know what? Nope, I'm not doing it.
Exactly. So
for us, 106, that's a very hot day. 106
is like, we are getting ready to have what's called monsoon season. And so we start getting more like low pressure systems coming in, and, really it's kind of like a reversal of the wind flow, blah, blah, blah. But it brings in a lot more moisture. Oh,
sorry.
That's all right. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
It brings in a lot more moisture, and it rains a lot, and the temperature starts to come down. And so the humidity's gone up a little bit. And so this is kind of a cool day. So yeah, it's anyone who says they can't wear at GAT because it's too hot, you can.
No, thank you.
I can see the argument in that. Like, well,
Yeah, but I do hang my gear up outside after I get home because it's just like drenched in sweat.
Right. Right.
So I go in the backyard and then start hanging it.
I bet everything is drenched. Oof, that's hot.
Yeah, it is hot. It is very hot. All right, so let's cover a little bit of the ground we covered already because I'm a dummy and didn't hit the record button. So Tabitha, you had a Kawasaki Ninja and then you replaced it with what again?
Yamaha MT-07.
All right. And why the MT-07?
I was just in a dealership and I was like, I need a new bike. I was looking at the Honda CBR. I really like that. And it was more than that one. I was like, well, the price of this one's better. I kind of like it if I change the handlebars, if I do this. I'm like, I think I might could use that. I like it. And I ended up convincing myself, I guess, to get the naked bike. I really like sports bike. But I'm just going with the Yamaha.
See, because I told her she wanted the CBR 600, but I'm just like, for your riding style, the CBR 600 doesn't fit because she doesn't go fast at all. Like doing 70s, she's just like, oh, okay.
No, it's not 70. 90 is like, oh, okay.
I'm just like, that's what, fourth gear for the CBR? So I'm just like, so I kind of steered her towards the MT because I'm just like, well, this would fit more of your riding style. You're more of a cruiser without being on a cruiser. Like she just likes to cruise around town, cruise on the highway. Well, you drive a little bit faster on the highway.
Yeah, of course, because cars go faster.
But when we was looking at it, she really wanted to see your 600. I was just like, that does not fit your style. So
but I think I still would probably get that at some point.
She's going to get, that's going to be her next bike. She's going to get it next. But I was just like, for right now, just hop on the MT. This fits you. We did have to change a few things because she didn't like the bars. She didn't like the mirrors and all of that stuff. So we had to change bars out. And
windscreen,
exhaust. Because she's picky. But yeah, It's actually pretty. The MT is actually a really good. I don't care what anybody says. That bike is such a fun bike, man. I love that bike. Sometimes I'll make excuses like, hey, can I ride your bike so I can go?
One morning I get up to go ride my bike and it's gone. I was like, where's my bike? He's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, sorry. I'm just gonna go ride today.
The bike is fun. It's a fun bike.
I think, personally, I've only been on 3 or 4 bikes at this point, and I've had a blast on all of them. I think if you like motorcycles, I mean, you can appreciate anything. I mean, I've heard a lot of YouTubers say, it's a lot more fun to ride a smaller bike engine wise at like 90 to 100% than it is to drive like a super fast bike at like 30%. Exactly. You know what I mean? Because if you go 150 on a highway, that sounds like a felony.
But that is true. It is true because I haven't even maxed out my bike yet, and it's just like I don't think I ever would because I don't ride like I go fast, but I don't ride like that all the time. Where it's just like riding like the MT7. It's still a fast bike, and it's a torquey bike too. So it's just like even with her 300 before that, where it's just like you can still do 100 plus on the 300. You know, and it's just like you're still doing way faster than what the speed limit is. I think all it is just like, hey, look how cool I am because I can go fast, or look how cool I am because my CCs are bigger than yours. Like, okay, cool story, bro. Go sit, you know. But that's not me. Like me, I don't think I would ever go above like 600 when it comes to like sports bikes because that's not. I don't need to go. I don't need all that power. You know, it's just like right now I have the Kawasaki the 636, and it's just like to me that's a perfect bike. You know, for my type of riding style, the type of rider I am, it's just like, it is perfect. I still haven't maxed it out yet. I don't even want to tell you how fast I've been because she's going to yell at me. But it's just like, I've been pretty fast, but I know it could go faster. And that's just like, that's all I need. You know, I don't need to impress another guy so he can say, hey, it's pretty cool, bro. It's just like.
So now, how long have you had your MT-07?
So I got it in mid-May. So it'll be what, a little over 2 months? Is
2 months?
I don't know.
2-3 months, maybe.
So now you've been riding it, you know, a little bit. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, are you happy with your purchase?
Yeah, at the beginning, not so much. Probably because I didn't have an exhaust. I missed the sound of my my exhaust on my 300. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just riding. Like, yeah, I can't really just, you know. When I finally got the exhaust, I feel like that helped a lot. I don't know why. Maybe because I can hear it more. I don't know. But maybe it's all in my head. But I think getting those different mods done to the bike, it really helped me like the bike a lot more. I'm super short. I'm like 5'2", so I'm always tiptoe. Ball of my foot was for my 300, but now I'm like more up. So getting that stability, like learning that for me was, I think I had to really overcome. Like, okay, I'm on a hill now, because you probably have a lot of hills in Arizona. We have lots of hills in Athens, like tons of them. So I'm having to always like learn like how to balance properly on a hill, if you know the downside or the high side, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so
it's interesting. I just was replying to someone's Instagram story where they said, what are some things that motorcycle riders always say? And my response was, when you're getting a new exhaust, bro. Because everyone wants a new exhaust.
Honestly, for me, I think an exhaust is just like, I don't know. That's the only, for me, that would be like, if I could only get one mod, I'd just change my exhaust and that's it. Like fender eliminator, do all this other stuff. It's fine. Exhaust, because stock exhaust, it is disgusting. Quiet. They sound like scooters. And it's just, get rid of them.
So, you know, it's interesting because I'm a Harley rider myself, and my stock exhaust, I still love. I plan on replacing it because you got to replace it, right? But I love the stock exhaust. But one of the things that didn't appeal to me about sports bikes was the sound, even with like upgraded exhausts, because to me, it's more of just like a high, like screaming, whiny kind of like, you know what I mean, kind of noise. And I'm always, you know, I'm like you. I love YouTube, so I'm always on like these different YouTube channels, like watching motorcycle content and stuff. And most of the motorcycle content I watch is like sport bike related. And every time people are like, "Oh my God, listen to my exhaust! I love it," and they're like, "Where?" And I'm just like, I don't get the appeal at all. But that's why we're all different. You know what I mean? Because like I hit my stock Harley and it's like, and like that's cool.
Oh, because the Harley, you can definitely hear you guys. I know when it's a chopper, I know when it's a sports bike. You know, my bike is like in between, which I'm kind of upset about. Like I want to sound more sporty, but it's not. So I'm just
but yours sounds good. It's hers is like more throaty.
It's like angry. It's a little bit
really mean sounding.
Yeah.
But it's just like with the Harley guys, the kids, they run in the house and they be like, "Mommy, Daddy, a Harley's coming." Everybody run inside because those guys are terrible people. We're like, it's okay, kids. It's okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
It's true though. I mean, I definitely
you gravitate to, because for me, like, I hear sports, I'm like, oh, it sounds so sexy. I'm like, ooh, and I hear it, I'm like,
So my my experience with sport bikes was more with like the stunters, and so when I was just a car driver, and I went down to Myrtle Beach for vacation one year, and they were having a bike week that week. But so in DC we have like Rolling Thunder every year, and so all the Harley guys come out and like they ride down the road, and it's super loud and stuff, which is why they call it Rolling Thunder, Right. But this was my first kind of bike week where it was sport bikes, and it was so frustrating as a driver because these guys and girls were like popping wheelies and doing all this stuff down the roads, and I've always terrified I'm going to run some person over, and nothing happened, but it was like so anxiety driven for me, where it was like I'm going to squish someone because they're like just driving so crazy. So my sport bike opinion was kind of formed with that, where I was just like, I'm gonna stay away from that.
I think bikes are like ants. It's like one ant, two ants. He's like, this little ant. But then he's like 1,000 of them. You're like, oh my goodness. It's too many at one time.
Oh yeah.
Keep the group ride to a minimum, guys. Yeah. And be careful out there. Anybody who's listening to this, group rides, more than 20 guys, popping wheelies down the street. Please be careful. You know what?
It's just prone for accidents.
And it's hilarious because now that I ride, even though I don't ride a sport bike, I love watching the stunt rider Instagrams and YouTubers, because I think it's actually really fun to watch. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't fun as a driver to like have some sport bike going right next to me and then like pop a wheelie and cut in front of me. And I'm like, I don't want to kill anyone on my vacation.
Right. This is not anymore.
But yeah, shout out to Brian636. I really like his channel.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that kind of turned my opinion around a bit, because I saw that article come out about, that big group ride they did in Chicago, and the news was like showing people like riding on sidewalks and, just doing all these crazy stunts, and it seemed really reckless and obnoxious. But then I started watching some of his channel, and it seems like, he does try to do some good things for the community and all that. And he's right. You can't control when a crowd gets that big, you can't control what everyone is doing.
It's just gets crazy. I couldn't be in a crowd that big. Oh no, definitely not. It's just too many people. Oh, I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it pre-COVID, It's like,
right. At all. It's just,
yeah.
It would be terrifying for me as a rider. Like, there's too many people doing different things. I don't know if you're gonna stop or you're gonna brake properly, and that's just
Yeah, or you can get rear-ended by another motorcycle.
Right.
Exactly. Mm-mm. And I watch a lot of Moto Madness and
me too.
All that. It's just like, you know what, guys?
Keep it to a minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to watch a lot of Moto Jitsu too. I don't know if you guys watch any Moto Jitsu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love all his content. I actually just I put up a YouTube video this week or last week or whatever of me going out into a parking lot and doing a bunch of the Moto Jitsu drills, just because I'm a new rider. I passed my MSF in March and I got my bike in April.
Okay, this year.
Yeah. So I just started riding, and did either of you guys go through the MSF course at all, like the basic rider course?
No, but I still take a course, like, for sure.
Yeah. I recommend it. I mean, everyone should take an MSF course, in my opinion. I mean, we had guys in the class who'd been riding daily as their only form of transportation. But anyway, they had a hard time with some of the drills at the basic MSF course.
We still do like parking lot practice.
We try to like once a month go out to the parking lot, do some drills, do some practices, because it's just like I was saying before, like you could be the greatest rider, but then it's just like those things need to be like second nature to you.
That's right. Well, I would recommend, if you don't have it, I'd recommend his book. All it really is the specific. He uses jiu-jitsu belts as kind of like the different levels, and so he's got like the white belt drills, the blue belt drills. and so forth. And so you can kind of start, and you've got a map on how you can progress through increasing your skill level, you know. And at least for me, it's really helpful because you see by all my prepping notes and stuff, like I like to be over prepared and have a plan. So for me, I like having the measurements, and I got like one of those little roller sticks. I can make sure I'm getting everything the right distance.
And we have cones and stuff outside.
I've got cones. I bought some cones. That's right. Nice. But yeah, so anyway, I would definitely recommend one of the courses. And now I've lost my train of thought because I know I got onto the MSF course through a different line of questioning. Back to Chic Riot then. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have anything under the in the oven or something you might be baking for the future coming up you might want to share? Or
so we gotta.
I think we're still in the planning stages of what we're gonna come up with next.
Chic Riot armored socks.
Sign me up.
Socks on. You don't have the right shoes, but these socks on.
You don't even need shoes.
That's right.
Protect your ankle while you wear.
For right now, we're still in the sketching stage, but we do spring and summer, and then fall and winter. So right now we're kind of sketching things out for fall and winter. We're not quite sure how many pieces we're gonna do yet, but yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know what month starts fall. I don't know.
Depends where you live.
It's true.
Exactly. We don't have fall in Arizona.
Summer, a little bit of fall with summer, and
it's
like summer, then summer light.
There you go, summer light.
So like right now, it's nothing grounded, but just more sketches and more thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I saw on your site was that you guys go up to, I believe, 2X in most of your clothing. Was that kind of a conscious effort to make sure that you were having sort of more inclusive sizing?
Yeah, we actually changed the size chart so that for extra small to extra large, we would probably fit a 2X person. So that was very conscious. We wanted to fit as much people as you possibly can. But we also are hoping to expand that even further to fit more sizes. So we will have plus size as well. So that's going to take a little bit more work on our end, just to come up with the grading of all the patterns and then having additional sizes on there, because we do really want to include more women, because some women that I have talked to,
women that we ride with, we're just like, why?
They won't be able to wear Chic Riot, and we want every woman, if you're able to ride and you're on this bike, you should be able to wear our clothing as well. So yeah.
But that is something, like she was saying, that I don't know how far
we
plan on going.
Probably just 1X, 2X, 3X, which are in the plus size. So not necessarily the extra large or the 2X, but it'll be a whole different category, which would include 1X, 2X, 3X.
Okay.
So, and those would be like the plus size that we would include with all the jackets. So we're trying to probably start with one jacket and then introduce it to all the other jackets.
No, that's fantastic because, I think to back up a little bit of my own history, I started off one of my first kind of fashion type shoots was a plus size lingerie company. And, in like interacting with the owner of that company and also getting more involved in the boudoir scene, you start to find out that, it's so difficult to find good fitting and attractive clothing, whether it's motorcycle gear, lingerie, regular clothes for women who are above, like a size 12, and it seems like, most of the country, when you look at the average size, I think most women are around a 10 or a 12.
Yeah, I think in 16 at one point. Yeah.
And then you consider that so many brands don't even carry much larger than that, and it's just, to me, it seems crazy, and it seems like a really big opportunity for companies who make clothing to tap into the plus size market, because, everyone wants to look good. Everyone wants to be safe if they're riding, not everyone, but smart people want to be safe when they're riding a motorcycle. and
the big thing with Chic Riot, where it's just like, it's that untapped market where it's just like these brands, these big brands, they could have been, did something like that for the females, but it's always, the females are always like pushed to the side, secondary, and the same thing for the larger sizes, where it's just like, it's always secondary. And it's just like for Chic Riot, we wanted to make sure our focus is on females, like all females, from tiny little babies. Hey, you put a baby in a Chic Riot jacket to whatever. So it's just like all females. It doesn't matter. It's just like from size 0 to size 100. I don't know.
Who's the size 100?
Yo, mama.
You have to see some violence on camera. You have to see some violence on camera.
Oh my God.
But now, we definitely want to make sure that we include every single female. Doesn't matter what size you are. Doesn't matter what you ride, unless you ride you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it because somebody that's listening is probably riding one, but.
Okay. Let's just leave that out then.
It was a gold wing. That's what I was trying to get at.
It's funny. Those are coming back in style, and it's hilarious to me.
I know. That's why it works.
So, I'm always kind of keeping my finger on marketing pulses and stuff. That sounds stupid, but I have an interest in marketing since I had a small, photography business, and it's kind of like bled over into the other things that I do. And so I tend to kind of look at market research and such as it comes available. And one of the things I had been seeing was that, motorcycle companies are complaining, that there's not that much growth going on, or at least their shareholders are, or whatever. But I think that, so women are the most underrepresented group of people, I think, in writing. And so if you're looking for growth, it seems like it would make sense to start targeting a market that you haven't been targeting before. And so it just boggles my mind that there's not more of a push into getting women to ride. And I'm wondering how much of that is they don't have an interest in getting women to ride versus they don't know what would help to get women riding. So Tabitha, in your opinion, what do you think that motorcycle companies could do to interest more women in riding?
Actually have like a meetup for women riders, like just not the ones who already ride, but like, hey, if you never have, just actually introduce that to women, like come just sit on a bike, talk to us about the bike. We can answer all your questions that you may have, or your hesitations or whatever, or talk to women who actually ride that are here. So, just have that kind of, women like to talk. If you have this open dialogue about motorcycles with women and you have like coffee and like, good stuff there we would like to eat and drink, and you really make it an event, I think that would definitely pull more women in, because most women come in a dealership probably with their husbands or their boyfriend or somebody, and they're just going with them, just tagging along, not interested at all. So they don't make you feel like you are a part of it. So therefore you don't feel like you need to be, you don't feel that any connection with you as a woman, or what your needs are, what things you don't like. Because as you start riding, you feel like, amongst women who are probably shorter than men, most men, right? There are tall women too, but they're more or less shorter than men. So you don't think, oh, seat height makes a difference, especially for me. Like I just different bikes, I'm like, oh, this seat height is 32.7. This one's 32.5. This one's 31.7. Like I know those because that's something that I'm caring about. And if that's not like a part of your selling or a part of your, a way to, I guess, introduce it to women, then you're not going to find any women riders. And I think having other women who are actually on board, like you can't just have all males on the board and then you're expecting them to, find women to come in. Like it's not going to happen.
Put pink on it.
Right. It's like shrink it and pink it, right? That's what they do. And every woman is not like pink. I'm going to understand why they thought like this was, I guess, with the big companies who make motorcycle jackets and gear for women. They thought, oh, let's put some pink on it. Women like that. Like what? Like, are we children or are we women? Like, what do you mean? Some women do like pink, and let them like that pink. That's fine too. But not all of the jackets should have pink and this hideous ink thing they do. I don't know what it's called, but it's like this.
You're offending somebody right now.
I'm sorry. I probably am, but it was just hideous to me. But I think if you make it more social, more accepting, you're right, more inclusive.
Actually have women that ride, like making decisions in these like big brands and big companies. Because I'm pretty sure it would have been different if you didn't ride making jackets. You'd have been like, oh yeah.
Right. I wouldn't care. It wouldn't be in my radar to even think about it. But I think if you have other women who are actually on the boards and you have, even if it's a dealership or whatever, you're not inviting women in. You're only catering to who's already coming there.
And you know what else? I'm sorry, but having a bikini wash, it's not going to bring women in.
Stop it.
That's not.
You think it's not for you. You're like, it's not for me. It's for the guys.
But what if it was a Chippendale wash?
There you go. That'll bring some women in.
Not the right one.
What if you just split it down the middle? You got the bikini wash on the right, the Chippendale wash on the left. Everyone can come get their bikes washed.
The thing is, they think that sells most. Like, exactly. Like, who are you selling? Like, when you see like a female in a bikini and a motorcycle, you're like, okay,
on a billboard.
You're not selling that to a female.
Not, right.
You're a female. Like, some mom is not going to be like, well, I want to look like that. There's grandmothers who ride. Some grandmother's not going to look at that bikini motorcycle picture and be like, oh yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, and you feel like you're not included. Like it's not about you. It's for another audience,
because women come in all shapes and sizes, not just bikinis, baby. So it's one of those things where it's just like, just market to more females. Simple as that. They have the money. They
and ask women what we want. Like, stop thinking like, oh, I know what they should like. Pink. Put it on there. Who said that? And
we're giving them too many ideas. But I would like to say, even though we Chic Riot, even though we are a brand and a company that sells motorcycle jackets. After we start doing this, we have found other brands and other companies that do the same thing that we're doing. And you know what? Big shout outs to there's companies like Atwild and Stella Moto. So it's just like, and these, granted, it's really hard to find them because,
we found them after we started, so.
But it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, there are other companies that are out there that are doing tailored just for the females.
Yeah.
But it's
really... Throttle, she actually sells a lot of those brands on the site as well. So, so I mean, you find those companies, but it's only a few of us. So, like, if you're gonna buy, at least buy from the companies who actually care about women as a whole, not just as a afterthought. Because really, those other, I guess, motorcycle brands, they're really thinking about their main target audience, which are men. And so it's just what it is.
How much of that do you think is due to current motorcycle culture and just having the inability to kind of break away from the current motorcycle culture? Because, we talked about Harleys having that image of, it's all these like, drug runners and whatever, you know what I mean? Like on motorcycles. But I feel like a lot of motorcycles have the motorcycling, styles have the image of a kind of a good old boys club too, right? Where it's a bunch of, whether you're on sport bikes and you're a bunch of boys running around doing like wheelies and stuff, or you're the, the Harley guys looking, or Harley bros or whatever they call them, looking like they're going to commit some crime. Either way, there are these undertones that it's always like a boys club. And I'm curious how much you think that is impacting women's views on motorcycles and whether they'd want to be a part of that or not as well. Yeah. So
I think I actually, until you said it, I didn't really think about it, but I think that is true though.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if that's all you see, of course, you're going to look at it like, well, I guess
it's just what the guides do.
And there's no need for me. But I definitely do want to give another shout out because there's a lot of girl clubs out there. Like I know here in Atlanta, there's the Leaders.
They're all over.
Well, they're all over it, but here there's a club called the Leaders.
It's not really a club.
It's
not a club. It's just a community of women.
Community of women who rides. Yes. I'm sorry very much.
They have different ones all over the nation. They have the Leaders, and even I think international.
Yeah. But it's just like you see them and it's like it's a bunch of females who ride and you're like, oh man, that's pretty cool. No guys allowed. And you're like, oh man. But it's still pretty cool because it's just like, hey, and it's just like they need more of that to show like, hey, this females, we can do the same thing that these guys could do, And it's just like, so it is what you see all the time in your face. Like, oh man, if all I see is just a bunch of guys doing reckless stuff. And, you know, even just like female stunt riders, there's a lot of female stunt riders. But,
I follow them. I know. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so it's
so
just
cool.
like, and they're cool. To me, female stunt riders are some of the coolest bike riders, because I'm just like, first of all, you're doing tricks I can't even do. You know, so it's just like, more power to you.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes to show representation matters, right? I mean, if you can't see yourself doing something,
exactly.
And you said that basically earlier, you know, but I think that the cultural aspect of the whole motorcycle rider experience kind of supports that whole the whole non-inclusivity thing, where it's all going to be guys, because it's like almost like they've got this they feed off each other, you know, and it's a circle that just can't be broken for some reason, because the culture is like supporting the imagery, and the imagery is supporting the culture. And like you said, you've got groups like the Litas, you've got like Black Girls Ride, I think is out in California. And so brands, for instance, Indian motorcycles, there's this commercial people bring up on a lot of the YouTube channels where, you know, there's a bunch of Harley riders riding, they stop at an intersection and they let these Indians go by, and they kind of nod at each other, you know, as like a show of respect, but they're all men, you know?
Right.
And I think they're even all white men, if I remember right. So they had an opportunity, because there were two crowds of people crossing, to show more diversity.
Diversity.
And they didn't.
Right. You're like, what is going on? Yeah. You would think at what do you mean? Okay. And you would think at some point they would think, okay, you know, we need to include more people so we can really, you know, broaden our market. But to them, I don't think they even have that concept down pat, like, you know. So, but yeah, I feel like if companies could really think about that in a way to, you know, increase your revenue, like, you know, it would help. But I don't think they're thinking about it. It's like, it's keep going what we've been doing, the same old, you know.
So we kind of covered the bikes. We've covered Chic Riot. Now, family life. When your parents found out both of you guys are riding, what did they think about the whole situation?
So for me, my mom was really cool with it. She was just like, that's what you want to do. I mean, she didn't really have any hesitations to it. She's like, I used to want to ride when I was younger. I was like, what about now? She's like, well, not now. I'm too old for that now. Like, I'm done with that. But she's asking me like how I feel on this bike. I tell her about my experiences. She's like, yeah, these jacket looks great. I love these jackets you're wearing. But if I was riding, I'd wear one of these jackets too, you know? So she's really like, you know, all for it. And even after my accident, it wasn't no like, oh, don't get back on this bike again or anything. She hasn't really been negative in any way.
I think it's because she wants to ride. She's just like, yeah, I want to ride too.
Yeah, she lives vicariously through me, maybe. She's like, oh yeah, I want to do that when I was younger.
I mean, do you really think that she's too old to ride, or she just feels like she's too old?
I tell her that she could get a bike.
She's not.
Like I said, Mom, this is woman I found on the internet. She's 58 years old. She started riding. So
yeah.
You can ride too.
I just watched someone who was like 93 get on an electric bike. The dude was using a cane to walk.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think they were advertising how easy electric bikes are for people to ride, because there's no clutch or anything. You know, you just get on, turn the throttle and you go.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this 93, if he can do it, come on, she can do it.
Right. Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. She's only 92.
I'm tell you said that. Yeah.
My mom, she didn't want me to on the bike. She was just like, no, those things are dangerous. Don't get on the bike. I told you.
She's like, I'm always praying for you guys. Every time we go, you know, she's like very dramatic about it.
That's why I don't even tell her anymore. I don't even tell her I have a bike.
Yeah. My mom was the same way. She was just like, because she had an accident with my dad when he was riding a bike when they were younger, you know, so she's always thinking they're too dangerous. And so when I told her I bought a bike, she was just like, oh, why did you buy a bike? That's crazy. So what about on the dad side? Any dads upset, or are they apathetic, or?
We don't have dads.
Oh, okay.
worst way to say that.
I just want to get it right now. Oh, Band-Aid.
This was the worst way I've ever heard anybody say something like
You
that.
said it worse. You said it worse.
We don't have dads. We're orphans.
Oh,
Well,
my
no,
Lord.
we have mothers. We're not orphans.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, no dad here. Just straight out. Nobody to say no or yes to.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well.
No hard feelings, though.
Wow.
Dad.
So I walked into that one. All right.
Just want to get it right. But yeah, none of the family members really have said anything negative. They always like, oh, what are you guys doing? They kind of like, I think, a little bit intrigued about it. But still it's like, oh, things are so dangerous. But
I'm like, shut your non-cool self up.
oh
Listen,
my goodness.
if you want to be cool, hop on a motorcycle.
So let me ask you this then. At what age will you guys start teaching your kids to ride?
Well, we're gonna get our son. He's 8. We're gonna get him a little pit bike.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's got to be cool. You can't be the only ones who are cool in the family.
I would disown this child
He
immediately.
loves a Yamaha R6.
For some reason, I don't know what it is.
He's
He
like,
just
that's his
he
bike.
said he wants an R6.
I
I'm
was
just
like, well, you have to be over than 25 to get an R6.
I was
But
gonna say, I don't think he can even tiptoe that, can he?
we're gonna do, like, for the kids, we're gonna do the whole London style, where it's just like how they do it, like in Europe and certain countries, where you have to like
Work your way up.
And
yeah, you gotta
graduate.
work your way up. So we're gonna do that with the kids, where it's just like you're gonna start off on a little 50 cc's and work your way up. You're not getting the 600 till you're like 26.
You can afford it yourself.
Exactly.
It's
That's
like on
right.
my insurance.
So it's just like, hey, ride a 300 your whole life until you're like 30, and then go ahead when you have a little bit more
Unless
sense.
they have like a different type of bike. But
Yeah, but yeah, we're definitely gonna teach the kids how to ride like earlier on. Teach them how to pop wheels.
So they can make some other people nervous on their vacation.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh man, that's funny. Do you see them taking an interest now in motorcycles, or I mean, obviously the boy saying he wants an R6 obviously is taking interest, but what about the girls? Have they expressed any interest in riding, or?
Oh yeah. Well, our daughter, they ride on the back. Well, at least the oldest one, she rides on the back with my husband sometimes. So she likes riding on the back. I don't think she actually wants it to do it herself. But our middle daughter, she is all for it. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna get a motorcycle when I get older. She wanted my 300 when she got older, but it's gone now. Can I get that when I'm older? Can I have that one? I'm like, it's gonna be so old for you when you get older. It's gonna look so dated. But yeah, so they've gotten all expressed interest. I think the oldest is more like on the back passenger, don't want to do it herself. But the other two, I think they actually really want to ride. Yeah.
So have you made them little jackets?
Yes. So initially, one of the jackets that we made was it was supposed to be an extra small, but it was too small. And so actually that became their jacket they wear. One of the first jackets. It was not too small really in like the bust area, but more so the sleeve wasn't long enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually let them wear that jacket when they ride. And you have a pair
of Chic Riot. So they have a pair of Chic Riot pants and jackets.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
Okay.
version.
These are the coolest kids in Athens right now.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, you guys have seen the other gear out there. I mean, you think it's hard for for women, like even the kid stuff seems like it'd be a big pain in the butt to find. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I don't think there's a huge market for kids the way there are
Right,
for
because
adults.
they're gonna grow so fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, oh my God, talking about buying sneakers every like 3 months or so.
Exactly.
Imagine replacing
Right.
motorcycle jackets that much.
No, thank
Right.
you. And that was a big reason why I didn't buy the jacket, because I'm just like, what are they gonna grow out of it in a couple of months?
And a year, and he's like, I can't wear that anymore. That's it. Yeah.
Well, you've heard of modular helmets. Maybe you guys need to develop a modular jacket for kids.
Right. Just add an extension. belt.
Snap.
You know
Sleeves
what?
come down.
Yeah, I think that is a really great idea. Honestly.
Darn it! Now we have to give them percentage.
You just can't forget me when you guys get big. That's all.
They have pants with elastic bands in them, so it could be tighter if you need to, but you can loosen them up. I mean, those are all great things.
Modular jackets.
Modular pants too. Yeah.
Okay, now you got us thinking.
Extend that leg a little bit. I think that's a great idea, honestly.
I just had to buy an extender for my waist for my motorcycle pants. So there, I've got extenders on the brain. Yeah, it's funny. I was trying to buy these pants I was telling you guys, and so I have some like Kenneth Cole jeans that I wear. They're not really fancy. I got them from Costco, so I got like 5 pair of the same jeans, because when you find a pair of jeans that fits, you may not find them again. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I love these jeans, about like 5 pair, and the waist and inseam, is comfortable on me. It leaves like room in the waist, and it's not too long in the inseam or whatever. So when I bought the motorcycle jeans, I went ahead and bought the same size, because these ones I have to wear a belt to keep them up. And I thought, at least they won't be too small if they come in. I can always use a belt to keep them to, make them fit my waist. These SOBs were so tiny. I had to immediately get on Amazon and get one of those stupid like little extenders that go to your waist and come over to the button, just so I could like zip them and like keep them from not like flapping in the wind as I'm riding around.
That's hilarious.
That is great.
Yeah.
And you know what? Question. Did you check the size chart before you bought the pants? Or did you just go off of, hey, these are the size pants I wear, and I would
like to say that when I spent a few $100s on a pair of jeans, that I checked the size chart, but I did not.
Gotcha.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And to be fair to myself, they actually did not have a size larger than the ones I bought.
Oh, okay. So
but I still would have known. I would have been like, okay, maybe I need to shift brands.
So how dedicated were you to lose weight?
It's funny because I used to do some like amateur bodybuilding, and so I would do cycling, right? So I would do a bulk cycle and then a cut cycle and a bulk cycle and a cut cycle. And I was so used to like gaining and losing weight, it wasn't really a problem. And even when I was doing like jujitsu, we'd have to cut weight for competitions, and, it would give me a deadline. And so I would stick to it, and then I can lose the weight. So it's like, I have the know-how, I just don't have the willpower. That's why I like jujitsu. Is like, I hate competing, except it forces me to make weight. I'd always pick a weight category that was below where I was at. So it would force me to stick to a diet and exercise. I hate running, but I'd go run, all that different stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the commitment level right now is pretty low. This Jamaica's got sugar in it. So, but yeah. All right, let's do a wrap up, because it's been a long time, and I feel bad you're holding this phone up now, and you had to get a charger and everything.
He needs some arm strength. It's fine.
So what would you like people to know about Chic Riot and anything else? Do you guys have anything coming up you want people to know about? Yeah, and just in general, if you could tell the audience something, what would you want them to know?
Are you gonna let me go first?
Yeah,
okay.
You go first.
So we are really dedicated to women and making them safe and look good. We wholeheartedly believe that people should wear gear if you're out here riding, but be protected. Protect yourself, protect your body. Oh my goodness,
sorry.
Over here. But yeah, so. And we're committed to like their lives and what they're doing, and in every aspect, because, a lot of us could be mothers, we could be sisters, obviously daughters and everything. So we really are invested in women and what they are wearing, and we also want them to look good and not have to sacrifice. Because I have seen women who just want like a woman, so they don't wear gear. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm gonna do his bulky jacket on, and so they just opt out, not just having gear at all. So for us, I'm like, I don't want you to have to sacrifice, just for that moment of just feeling like a woman. So you still can look good, and you still can be seen because we want to be visible as well. All of our gear include night visibility, so in some aspects. So even at night, if you happen to ride late, you still will, be spotted, be seen, but you'll still look really cool and chic and all that good stuff. What's coming up? So fall and winter, we are looking to introduce some more merchandise to our site. We're not quite sure exactly what they all will be, but it'll probably at least 3 new items for sure.
Do you have a potential launch date or?
Probably looking at September, late September. But yeah, we're hoping to, get everything squared away before then if we possibly could, but that'd probably be our latest date that we would.
Armored socks.
Not armored socks. We're not doing that one. But yeah, that's our goals, and keeping growing. We want to grow the company, so we need people to know about us. And thank you for having us on this podcast because people are finding us, and you found us, and we're happy that people are noticing us as a company and a brand. And we really want to stick by the things that we say we are. Safety and fashion. Yeah. That is our.
And for me, I would say more of we are Chic Riot. And it's one of those things where it's just like, if you hear from any one of us, it's going to be either me or Tab. So it's just until we get to that point. So right now we're a year old, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're a year old. And we just hope to continue to grow and meet cool people like you.
Right.
And hopefully I can get one of those hats that you
got. Well, so this hat has like a 6-week lead time or so. It was crazy. I got it from Teespring. A lot of the YouTubers, like when they get to a certain size, they start selling stuff through Teespring. And I do like the hat, but the weight was killer. I could not believe how long it was going to take to get a hat. And it's not even couture,
Wow, that's crazy.
So
armored hats.
I just want to thank everybody. Armored hats.
They're called helmets.
Oh, I thought I came up with something new.
But yeah, I just want to thank everybody who's been following us, because like right now we're just on Instagram and YouTube, and just doing what we're trying to do, and everybody who's who see what we're doing and appreciate what we're doing, we just want to say thank you for having us on our podcast. I listen to like over 40 hours of podcasts a week, so nice. I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of motorcycle podcasts as well too. So it's just like for people like you, people like Doodle and Megan and everybody who's been following us and actually liking our stuff.
All of our customers. All the customers. You have supported us, and we definitely appreciate that support. And yeah.
Well, you definitely have the coolest looking customers out there. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke when I say that every time I've seen a woman on a bike who had really cool gear, when I've clicked on the little, you touch it and it shows you who's tagged in it. It's always your guys' tags. So you're doing good things. I look forward to seeing what you guys come out with in the fall too. So
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna put that like coolest customers ever. Chic Riot. Like
that's right. Yeah,
I'm gonna steal it.
That's cool.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your time, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of The Modern Squid. If you'd like to learn more about Chic Riot and Tabitha and Kidd, you can go to their website, which is chicriot.com, or follow them on Instagram at Chic Riot Apparel. And if you'd like to be updated on upcoming episodes of The Modern Squid, you can follow me on Instagram at The Modern Squid, or you could also follow the website, themodernsquid.com. Thank you so much. Have a good one.